everybody, it's Tommy Castro and my good friend Kid Andersen over here. We're just hanging out, playing guitar, talking shit.
We're being nice.
Yeah. We're just hanging out, having a good time, talking about whatever we feel like.
Tommy, you look great.
I feel like I have a TV show. Well, thank you. You're looking good yourself, kid.
This is a lot like a TV show.
It is like a TV show, and you know what? I watch a lot of YouTube videos, and so many people have their own podcasts now, and it's amazing how many people, famous people and people you never heard of, all of a sudden they've got a news program and they're talking about politics or something like that.
Yep.
Anyway, so I've always wanted. I've got a little time this year. At the end of the year, I kind of like to take a lot of December off, and so I, get caught up on things that I don't have time to do the rest of the year when we're touring. And
I hear it. I'm trying to do the same.
All that stuff. So I thought I'd finally get around to doing this, and so thanks for being my first customer.
Customer? How much do I owe you?
Actually, I'm your customer, but we don't want to talk about that because the other day I referred to myself as a client, and I think I've hurt your feelings.
I won't say you hurt your feelings because I've heard the word before, but it is a pet peeve of mine. Yeah, I hate that word. I don't want to hear anything that makes me feel like I have a job.
Point taken.
You're not a client. You're an artist.
Well, Kid and I have had the. Well, God, I knew you when you were playing guitar for Charlie Musselwhite many years ago. I'd say over 20 years ago.
Yeah, maybe even at first when I was playing with Terry Hank, I think I met you then too.
Yeah, I remember of course we opened for Charlie, and so I did my show, which is all over the map musically. A lot of in those days, the Blind Pig guys were pushing me to be more rock blues, and our show was kind of a lot of energy. Randy and I and Keith, that was kind of our thing. And anyway, it was we put on a pretty good show.
Yeah, you did.
And I saw you after the show in the dressing room or something like that, and you said, I really like that slow blues you did.
Well, that's the thing.
I said thank you, and I kind of got the feeling that at the time especially,
you took it as an insult.
Not an insult, but I knew you as kind of a traditional blues enthusiast, and not really crazy about all of that other kind of blues.
Well, that's what a lot of people think about him, but really, I like all kinds of, I really, I tell you what, from the years I was 12 to I was about 14, 15, yes, I was a pretty gung-ho, I would pretty much listen to only
Purist.
Blues, yeah.
Blues purist, that's the word I was looking for.
But I'm into all kinds of music, and I just want people to do what they sound the best at. But I mean,
be authentic.
Yeah, authentic to yourself.
Yes.
That's more important than trying to be authentic to some norm or standard that was created way before you were even born.
Exactly.
It's not natural.
Well, of course, I've known you a long time now, and I know that about you. You know your way around a lot of different kinds of music. I'll never forget. Not that this is like something you do all the time, but we had a song on my Stomping Ground album. It was it had a reference to people accepting everybody, whatever their the race or religion or might be, there was a line in there or something about that, and you went on in the wall in your kitchen and got like a Middle Eastern instrument. What do you call it?
Yeah. The saws.
And is that what it was?
Yeah. Also, it's also called the baglama. It's a Turkish string instrument. It's kind of like a Middle Eastern bouzouki or something.
Yeah.
I actually just used that on another album when I was talking to somebody about it yesterday. And yeah, that's totally Middle Eastern stuff. And I love all kinds of music, folk music and different stuff from all over the world. And I want to try and play what they what they got going there.
Yeah, well, it was brilliant, and it's on the recording. If you listen to a song of mine,
Yes, it is.
That song was called.
It was called "Fear is the Enemy." They don't think like you do. They don't act like you do.
Fear is the enemy.
I busted out some.
It was about not being afraid of people just because they're different. Yeah, and I said, they don't look like you do. They don't believe like we do, or something like that. And he went, What? Anyway, so I know that you could play a lot of a wide variety of music. You just have music.
I'm a music hog.
Yeah.
I'll like Angie, I'll devour anything.
If it's good.
Well, yeah. Well, we find that out after you take a bite.
Well, anyway, so we had we made this last album together called Closer to the Bone, which was more of a traditional blues album, and that's just what I was feeling like doing at the time, and I knew you were the right guy to produce a record like that. And man, I'll just say, it would be if I'd taken it somewhere else, or if I did it some other way, it wouldn't be the record that it is, and it came out just exactly like what I wanted it to be, but even kind of better than I expected.
Well, I always think of when I produce an album, for somebody, especially the really good ones. A part of it feels like it's like you're painting a portrait of somebody, and
good way to put it. Yeah,
and you want to put them in the best light, and what really helps is if you feel like you know them in a way that maybe not everybody else does, and you're just doing your best to make the world see what you see in that person or artist. And one thing about you, and probably the reason I told you that I like that slow blues is because a lot of people probably don't realize that about you, because you play, you've dabbled, ventured into other kinds of blues related music that's more that's I guess more commercial or whatever, but I know you're I know you love the deep blues as much as anyone, and from and especially from where you come from and the people you play with. I mean, I always said this, one of the reasons I just I think you're that I love you is because I feel like if you lived, in a small apartment above the saloon and just played there every night to make a living, you'd be perfectly happy. You'd be like a pig in shit.
I actually used to envy Nitro because he lived over the saloon.
I know.
I used
so
to think
practical.
to myself, man, what a life. It's time to go to work. I got 5 minutes. I'll be early.
Yeah, no, man, I always heard that you playing. Every time you play blues, I mean, and you would always get down with some old buddy guy stuff, and I hear where you get to, and it's not a perfunctory. Well, I should do some blues to satisfy that guy over there in the bowling shirt. No, it's like you feel it. You really, you feel it and love it as much as I do, and then it becomes real. So I thought that was great.
It's a matter of getting it. When you hear something. I remember I played Muddy Waters for this chick singer in a band I was in when I was younger, and it was kind of a club top 40 band. It just it was a gig, and she's a pretty good singer, and she was into popular music, and you know, those were the days of Steely Dan and you know,
Sure.
Vaccaro Brothers and.
I love all those guys.
And all that stuff, you know, really, it sort of advanced, you know, music was becoming popular. And, you know, I wasn't really into any of that stuff myself. I mean, I liked the songs when I heard them on the radio,
Right.
but it wasn't something I felt connected to or could play. Anyway, so I was like, you got to listen to this. This is some real music. And I played Muddy Waters' Long Distance Call. And she went, well, he's not really a you know, a technically great singer. And I'm like, I went, that's it. I'm out of here.
Yeah, good.
Anyway, so
I mean, that's the thing is that music, the blues, you know, that is really every bit as complex and layered, I think, as you know, as Steely Dan or
oh yeah.
You know, Ingrid Malmsteen, I don't know, Dream Theater. It's anything, but it's in a different way. It's like emotionally complex, and it's you know, it's in the subtleties. You know, on the surface, it looks very simple, but you know, I mean, I would say if my favorite music in the world is the blues, my least favorite music or my least favorite sound in the world is somebody trying to play blues who don't really feel it or get it or respect it, you know. There's just nothing more offensive to me. I mean that's
I know what you mean. I really do. And you know, people either love it or you don't, you know. And there is it is a great scene. If you know, if you're a guitar player, let's say this pretty good guitar player, it just in general, and you know, play all different kinds of styles, and you get a gig in a blues band, you're going to work, you know. And I think a lot of people wind up playing blues because there's gigs, and
also, I mean, blues is
that's really not what they want to do, but you know, hey. It's
I always said that the shortest way from like not playing an instrument to being able to get up on stage would probably be, you know, blues bass. I'm just, I mean, there are great blues bass players, you know, but there's also guys who can, you know, but you know, in certain, you could get by just knowing like a couple of bass lines.
You have a good time, you know. If you had a good pocket and a good time, and you know, and you just knew the basic stuff, you'd be very handy in a lot of bands. Probably they don't want to try to get too you know, overly creative. But hey, let's see. There's a few things I wanted to ask you about, talk to you about, and let's just say this. I mean, I know I've recorded at Greaseland. Can you run down a list that in less than like a half an hour of people that you've recorded
at
Greaseland? Just off the top of your head.
Off the top of my head, I'm not allowed to cheat. Well, let's see.
You can look around the room and you'll see who played your guitars, and that'll remind you.
Well, most recently, Charlie Muscle White's. I produced his latest record because that's up for a Grammy right now.
Wow.
And DK, you know, DK Harrell, a lot of these new guys that are popping up, and you know, young black guys and girls who get into the blues in a way that I haven't seen before, which is awesome. They got DK Harrell, Sean McDonald, some of the, you know, newer ones. Of course, all the Rick Estrin and ICAT's albums. I did albums with, you know, Frank Bay, Willie Walker. I always mention Tommy Castro.
Chris Kane.
Chris Kane, Elvin Bishop.
Elvin. Wow, great. Wow, it must be.
Yeah, I did that one with Elvin and Charlie as well.
That's right. 100 Years of Blues.
Yes.
You got a lot of great records under your belt, man.
You know, it's getting there. You know, we've combined and sold hundreds of copies. You put it all together.
They're flying out the door. tens of copies.
Well, I was but right around the time that when I entered the music business, it was over. It was like 1999, I think, was the last time I had a day job, and that's the last time anybody made any money on a recording, anyways, because that was Napster and all that stuff. But I never got into it for the money, and that's yeah. What can you say? And I made a lot of records, with the Little Village Foundation.
Right.
Dina Greenleaf, I made her album. I'm still looking for my list. I actually made a list at some point. Now I'm talking out my ass while I'm looking for the list, and ignore anything coming out of my mouth right now.
I know there's probably another 20 artists.
Oh, there are more than that. I've actually produced all together. You might not have, probably haven't heard all of them, but I've produced
some of them
over
are still in the can.
Some of them, that's true. No, I got over 200 albums that I made.
Wow.
Yes,
wow.
They're not all. They're not all worth mentioning, but it was a long road. But I've been, for about 20 now, not quite 20 years. I've been doing this, so.
Right.
They rack up after a while.
At first, when you first find out about your studio, you walk in and you're, if you're a musician, you're immediately, I find it really interesting because you've got instruments all over the place, and it's set up like the whole place is set up to make music, and it's not like any recording studio I've ever been in or anybody's house I've ever been in. It's not like either one of those things. There's no place like it, and then after you go and work in there for a while, you really do kind of fall in love with the place, and and what of course, and running the show. I mean, the whole experience is really something.
Well, it's a different kind of thing. I started doing it because I wasn't always comfortable and not having fun the way, we were recording albums with, in different people's studios that, they probably didn't have any relationship to the music. It got frustrating to try and explain what I wanted to the engineer, and they always had to fight.
Supposed to sound like, yeah.
Yeah. And of course, half the stuff that we think is cool, they think is wrong. So I got tired of fighting this guy, and then I realized also, hey, the slower he works, the more money he makes. So eventually,
then they're done that.
Yes, eventually I had enough impetus to start trying to make it happen myself, and it's kind of like when you get into the blues or guitar, it's like once you get bitten by that bug, you just go crazy. You get obsessed, and it's all it's all you want to hear about, think about, know about. Recording and all the so you get obsessed with it. Well, at least I do, and then you get good at it. I found a list now.
There's another interesting thing about this studio. I remember how you started. You got a little money to make a record.
Yes.
And you decided instead of going into a studio, you just bought some gear.
Yeah, it was about 2007.
That was the beginning. That's a good story, man.
Yeah, it's I had a record deal with a label in Norway for a little while back when I was, young and attractive. No, that never happened. But
last month.
Oh yeah. So exactly like you said. I usually they would give me some money to make a record. At the time it was maybe 10,000 maybe, and I'd spend it all. I would spend all of it on studio, musicians, all that, and then I got to a point where I was like, I started learning a little bit, so I at least knew I could do it myself, and then they sent me this advance, and I used that to, get some decent gear to do a recording, and what little I had left, I used to pay, I paid my buddy some, some money to play on it. and that was a. That was like
that
in
record?
2000.
What was that record? What was it called?
I made 2 records for this label in Norway. One was called Greaseland, as a matter of fact. That one's really good.
That's another good piece of the story.
That one was up for a Norwegian Grammy in 2006. And the next one is when I spent the money on making my studio, and that one was called The Dreamer. It's a little hard for me to listen to now because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't think it sounds kind of shitty, and
I got to go dig those up now.
And man, it was just like kind of at the very peak of my alcohol abuse.
Really? Was that long ago?
It was, yeah. It was like 2007.
Wow.
So, and I quit in 2008, and like New Year's Day, and
people quit on New Year's Day.
Yeah, it was not on. It was a New Year. It was January 2nd. I was still drunk on the first.
Just as many people do the second because, you got to have a little hair of the dog on.
I know. Yeah, and it's so lame. I was so ashamed of that in every meeting. I went to just like a January 1st. Like, no, man, it's not. I'm not an amateur.
Hey, man. Hey. One of the things I would plan to do with this idea of mine was to, have my friends come on and I don't think I told you about this before, but you have to show me a lick. You have to show me something that I don't know how to do.
We didn't tell me, but you ask me that every time I see you, so I figured this would be no different.
That is true.
Wait a minute. Hey, I found a list.
You've been a little stingy with them, though, if I remember. You kind of changed the subject, I'm like, hey, kid, show me something.
Yeah, I'm changing the subject right now, man.
I'll be right back. I have to fix something.
Wait a minute. Alabama Mike, Rusty's in, Jackie Payne, Marshall Smith, Whitney Shea, Wee Willie Walker. I found the list, you see.
Wee Willie Walker.
Yeah, Paul Osher, recorded album, Silent Partners with Tony Coleman, Johnny Bergen, Terry Hank, a bunch of albums, Ron Thompson, 2 albums. Mighty Mike Shermer, like 4 or 5 albums. John Namath, John Blues Boy, Junior Watson, Billy Price, Kevin Burke, Frank Bay, D.K. Harold, Curtis Salgado, Fillmore Slim, Finest Tasby, Chris Kane, Jimmy Carpenter, Albert Castilla, Andrew Duncanson, and it was Mark Hummel. There's more.
Wow. I like that. I really, not a lot of people know Andrew Duncanson's name, but that was one great record you guys made.
That is,
and all of those records are really good.
If people go check that record out, Andrew Duncanson and Mike Peliquin, California Trap is the name of it. If you go check out that after you listen to this, then I feel like we did something, because that's a great record. He's a great singer and totally under-recognized.
Yeah, it's tough sometimes, but we ran into him in Europe last summer, playing in they're catching, they're getting a little bit of traction finally.
Good.
But the main thing, man, we get there's the business of music, and of course that you don't get to do much, in this. And if you don't do the business, you don't get to play for people much. You don't get to make records and stuff like that. So you have to pay attention to the business, but the main thing is always the art, and whether it does anything or you wind up doing a bunch of gigs or getting notoriety, whatever happens from it is that's after the fact. The main thing has to be, it's like a pizza. You can't just have toppings. You gotta have a good crust, and you got to have the great sauce and all of that foundation, And so if people make a good record, no matter what happens with it, it was worth doing. And so
I think so, and I, sometimes there's been times when it feels futile, where you make a record and you think it's great, and then like, man, I really done it this time, and then pretty much nothing really happens, nothing really changes. But then you go, you know what? But then you meet people maybe years later who like really listened to it, and it really affected them and moved them, and that's
that's why we do this.
Yeah, that's why we do this. Yeah, and it's always been in the music business. As well as anybody else that it's not necessarily the biggest talents that rise to the top. There's a whole combination of playing the game and networking. I know there's many things besides he's great. That get somebody. To the top, to the top of the echelon. And Andrew is definitely a guy who's incredible talent. He's a very humble, unassuming guy. He doesn't do this like get out of the way, here I come. Shit's about to go down. He doesn't. He's just. You actually have to listen, and then after a while you go, wait a minute, that guy sounds incredible, and he's a soulful singer and songwriter, and he's, I really hope that people pay attention to that record, because he's badass, man. He's, there's plenty of good reasons to be happy to be alive today for musical reasons, and he's one of them for me.
Oh wow, yeah, I really enjoyed that record. It surprised me because I didn't know what to expect, and it was everything. It had everything. It had the songs, it had the production, it had the instrumentation. I mean, the great musicianship going on, and his vocals were outstanding. The other thing that bothers me about these things, though, is the shelf life of a new album is about 6 months now. You know what I mean? You put out a new record, and 6 months later, it's old news. Maybe that's because there's a lot of stuff coming out. Maybe the music has gotten more popular. I don't remember there being so many blues releases, back in the day, as much as we see now, and everybody's got no attention span.
No, nobody has, and I don't think, for the most part, for most like regular people, that sitting down and listening through an album and just doing that, is even a thing anymore. It's more like playing in the car. They listen to it on, jogging or I don't know. I don't know that much about jogging.
I listen when I'm riding my bike a lot,
Well, yeah, I know this is true because I do too.
Yeah, too bad, man. That we'd all be doing a little better if they didn't stop putting CD players in cars. That's the other. Hey, we could make a whole show out of just all this shit about the music business.
You want me to show you licks or something?
So hey, before we go any farther,
can you show me where my pick fell? That's what I want to know.
Something that I could use, kid. Give me something I can use.
Oh, I found it.
Give me a little something like here. You can use this, in a lot of situations.
Well, all right. What do we? What would that be?
I'll give you one too.
You give me one first.
Oh no! No. This is my show. God damn it.
Okay. So I give you one first.
And let's don't kid ourselves. We know who's got the chops, and I'm a good guitar player, but you have got an arsenal. Well, go ahead and just give me something.
Well, I'm not going to make it look bad on your. I'm not going to make it look bad on your own TV show, Tommy.
Give me something I can do, will you please? You know my speed.
Yes. Let's see. Why am I giving away my secrets now?
That's why nobody wants to show you anything now. God damn it.
Oh no, I can do. I'll show you anything you want. I gotta think of it. Then I want to.
I like that.
Well, that's a good one. I can play it in context for you.
Okay.
It's actually I swiped this from Jimmy Rogers' "Rock This House," and it's the guitar solo, and it's by a guy named Reggie Boyd. And he was not on that many recordings. He's really good, but he was a guitar teacher to like a lot of these guys, including Howling Wolf. And actually, his son Reggie Boyd Jr. lives in San Jose. I met him a couple of times. Actually, I'm gonna need my flat pick for this one, which is right down here. A little break music. Okay, so let me see if I can play this. I'll just play, the song. We're gonna rock this house. We're gonna rock this house. Rock and roll tonight. That's the lick.
That's pretty cool. Slow it. It's okay. There's three parts.
Yeah, there's only three parts. There's these two notes on the E string, 10th and 12th fret. We're in G.
Yeah.
So, and then there's.
Can you hear me? Oh, there it is.
You got it. Yeah. And on the B string, it's G and B flat. The stereo fret 11 and 8. Yeah.
I can't count too fast.
Me neither. And it's really the bottom part is just that down an octave. It's something that's
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, and that's so that's on the G string. It's 7th and 9th fret. 7 and 9 and 7, yeah. And that's the last one. And that's on the D string. It's 8th and 5th fret. So, and you can do any kind of variation of it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. I'll do it slow first.
Oop. There you go. Yep. Hey.
And then I'll just do it faster. on my next jump blues jam,
Exactly. Man, I played that for as long as ever since I learned that one. I probably played it sometime on every show I ever played. And now you're gonna ruin it for me.
People go, hey, that's Tommy's lick.
Yeah. I see you've been listening to Tommy Castro.
I've got. Let me see. I'm going to show you. I'll show you something I learned. I got it off this song called "The Hucklebuck."
Yeah.
Just to stay in the jump blues.
Yeah, because that's right up this alley. Yeah.
That's it.
Oh yes.
It's a turnaround lick. That's F.
Oh. I got this. So it's leading into the turnaround. That's actually I did a course on the what's it called, True Fire. Where I had a whole course called Shortcuts to Sophistication. and that kind of thing. That was like how to.
I know what you mean.
How to sound smarter. How to sound smarter than you are.
Now you don't have to worry about it. You got AI. So.
Yeah, that was a big part of my curriculum. Was basically like Stormy Monday changes, over a fast blues. But then you can, instead of just playing the chords, you can like spread it out, arpeggiate, and you sound, same as the lick you just played. And,
I like
and
that. I
I
like
really make you sound, like you sound like you're way more advanced.
Take it up a notch.
Yeah, that's the kind of that people go because you've been playing it all night and then.
I got one from listening to Mike. Watson, Junior Watson.
Junior Watson. You're not supposed to say his real name. Oh yeah. Let me tell you,
There's more notes than I wanted to get to tonight, but
when I was 13 or 14, I heard a Mark Hummel album that my guitar teacher had. It's called Hard Lovin' 1990s, and it had Junior Watson and Jim Pugh on it. Wow. And Junior played incredible. It's the first time I heard him, and it was just he blew my mind, And he was really kind of like the first guy.
Boy.
He was the first guy I heard, besides like maybe when I heard Steve Ray Vaughan when I was 11, when I just go like, oh, I want to do that, I learned every lick off of that. I could do a whole thing just all every solo he played on that record I know to this day.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that took a lot of work.
I listened to it that much, He had
because he never repeats himself at all.
No. And he had one solo that started with like, he had licks like that, and he knocked me out, man. And one of the first things that happened to me when I moved here to America and started playing with Terry is I met Junior and did a recording session with Terry, where Junior played guitar and I played the bass.
Wow.
It was very cool. He was so like forthcoming with not just information. I mean, it was ever since I met him, he's just treated me like family, and he was my idol.
Interesting character, no doubt about it, man. I mean, I did a little Texas swing. No pun intended, but a little run through Texas with him one time. There was a combination of people that were, I guess Mickey Nord and I had started.
You remember you had your label,
a little record label,
Heart and Soul,
and we went crazy and decided to sign, Junior Watson, and at the time. Anyway, it was a record that he made, and he was not crazy about it, but
I loved it.
He kind of just
If I Had a Genie. That was the name of the record.
Well, I liked it too. I mean, but we were just trying to. We had it was him and us, and I think somebody else was on the road with us at the same time. It made it a little, a couple of names. Anyway, but I really got to listen and watch a lot, and. The thing about him is he's super confident. He's got this amazing confidence, and he's straight up, and he's really honest about things. I mean, there was this. I saw him one time playing a show, and I think it was Portland, Oregon, and he was playing, and another guy was playing that night, and the guy that came up to announce them said. Two equally great guitar players, and Junior Watson. It was on stage at the time, and he went, Equally great. Is that what you said? You think? Man, he was pissed off, man. He was like, no, that's not true. That's basically, that guy's not
this is why he's not more famous.
You can't say that. I never heard anybody do anything like that in my life. And I got a huge kick
Equally great.
Hey, how about some you know, also I steal a lot from, I got to say, you know, you might listen to me, and we all borrow from everybody that we like, you know.
Yeah.
And then when you put it together, it comes out sounding like yourself. You know, I know that's the way it is with me. I can't sound like anybody else. And I don't want to.
Rick Estrin, he's got away with words, that man. But, you know, he really...
he does.
Narrowed it down. You know, blues is, you know, it's like it's a language. And, you know, and you learn it by listening, and, you know, figure out, you know, the vocabulary, right? The licks are like the vocabulary. And once you learn the language, then you use it to tell your own story.
Oh, yeah, Rick is he's one of the smartest guys I know. He really is. I mean, his songwriting and his you know, showmanship, the way he knows the thing he thinks about behind the scenes about what's going on. You know, you've had these talks with him, I'm sure.
I'm
plenty of times.
privy to a lot of that.
Especially when you get to. I sat and wrote a couple songs with him over, you know, in my time, and that was one of the best experience I've had, because I mean, I learned from the good songwriters also, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
I learned the do's and don'ts, and he's one of the most clever guys I know.
Oh, he as a songwriter, 'cause I write, you know, songs on occasion.
I got a good quote.
And he's so thorough and I mean, he really takes it very seriously, and he's, you know, it's intimidating sometimes. But whenever I send, you know, a song or song idea to him, and he replies with anything, because if he doesn't like it, he won't hear nothing from him, and you better leave it alone. But when you get some positive feedback from Rick, it's like, to me, it's like, all right, because he's so dedicated to it, to the craft. You know, he's like, whatever he writes, he just makes. He puts in so much time and effort to make sure everything is the best it can be. Yeah.
And he told me one time he liked my guitar solo in a song we wrote called "Backup Plan." It's a good song. Him and I wrote that together, and he hadn't, you know, like a lot of people back then, hear me doing this other things that I do, and not hearing me play straight up blues that often.
You keep apologizing for that.
I'm not apologizing. It's just kind of it's a thing, because when it kind of it goes along with what Rick said. He said to me, he goes, you know, he goes, man, it was a really good guitar solo on that song. And a little while later, we were talking about something else, and he was telling me about the things I got going for me. And he goes, you got this and you got that. And he goes, and you can play guitar, like as if you want, if you want to, you can, you know. but I think you choose to do all this other bullshit. And it wasn't that. It was an interesting, and I knew exactly what he meant. I knew exactly what he meant, because you're right. There is a vocabulary for this kind of music. And it's not like, you know, I speak English, you know, but I can't speak English like a professor. And I can't speak English like a professor at Harvard or something like that. I don't have that many things to say. So, yeah, but I am speaking.
You could understand each other.
It is my version of the English language. And, you know, so... Anyway, man, we're lucky we've been blessed to be able to know some of these people, man. I mean, what characters and interesting and just awesome talents.
Hey, I first saw Rick when I was 18 years old in Oslo. And it was the first show I went to after I moved from the country in Norway to like the city. And I had a friend who was a couple of years older than me. I was 18. He was maybe 22. He's a harmonica player, really good harmonica player, and he knew a lot more about everything than I did. And we went and saw Rick and with Little Charlie and the Nightcats with June Core and Ronnie James and I was just standing there watching Rick, and I thought it was, man, I want to have a band. I need a guy like that so I can be in a band with. But
wow, little did you know.
Yeah.
What did you think when you finally got the call, when you got that call? I mean, did you flash back?
Of course, that's the kind of thing you never forget, the stuff that really affected you when you were, in your formative years, as it were.
Yeah.
But the funniest part is that as we're standing there, like, looking at Rick, my buddy, an older and wiser buddy, Richard, comes up to me and he says, in Norwegian, he used to be a pimp. And then we both go, wow.
He learned a lot more from Fillmore Slim than just about the blues.
Rick says that those tales are greatly exaggerated.
I'm sure.
But
speaking of exaggerated, you got to read Fillmore Slim's book. It is pretty.
Oh, I have it.
It is really good. It's very entertaining, and you learn a lot of stuff. I learned a lot of stuff I didn't know.
Oh, did I mention? Yeah, I made an album for Fillmore Slim too.
Oh, you recorded Fillmore Slim too? Of course you did.
Yeah. It was great.
I like to hear him sing "Little Blue Bird," man.
That's on there.
That's worth the price of admission, right there. Just sing that song for me, and I can go home.
Yeah, Oh, you better get it. Might be the phone.
I see.
That's
I'm learning.
Hank saying.
This is my very first show, and I'm learning a lot.
I think we can use this. This is not.
Hey, so man, I wanted to touch on guitars and gear a little bit, but
Okay.
that could go.
Touching one right now.
I don't know if we have time for all of that. So,
We
but
can always edit.
let me put it this way: what's your favorite guitar to play? Do you have? Is that like one of your favorite kids? I mean,
Yeah, well, my favorite game. I tell you, the one I always bring to the shows is whichever one's hanging closest to the door.
that's the kind of stuff I was wanting to hear. God damn it, that is so true. Because I mean, you don't even have to think about it. Right?
If I got a case that fits, that's.
Hey,
What happened?
oh, nothing. So I got to get a new Focusrite, man. I got a good one.
I can hear you good.
But the jack where you put the headphones in, or to connect to the speakers, that headphone jack, that plug, both of them are.
Well, you don't need a new one. Just get them super glue.
See, hey, that's good. All right, man. Can you hear me all right now?
Oh, I hear you. Yeah, I hear you.
Okay.
Fine.
All right.
No,
What are we talking about? Gear.
Guitars, yeah.
Well,
you got a Les Paul now. Look at that.
I just got this, and I haven't had a Les Paul since the 80s. I had one in the 80s.
Black Les Paul standard is very cool.
That was part of the reason I went for it. I was looking on, eBay or something, and I thought, I came off the Blues Cruise, and I'd been listening to everybody play, and I just came to the conclusion that all the Gibson's sound I was digging more than most of the Strat or Tele sounds,
Right.
and which are awesome sounds, but all the guitar players that were playing Gibsons, 335s or Les Pauls, or even SGs. SGs that is just a little too small a scale for me. After playing a Strat, it's hard to make that transition.
Well, it's a very. It feels like you're not even wearing a guitar.
Yeah. So, but this, I did play one for years, and so it came right back to me. How much to bend and all of that.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, so I'm probably going to be favoring this for a little while, but you know, my baby, of course, is this guy.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, I'm
been
happy
with me
for you, but
been
that,
with me for
that-
30
but that's
something
Tommy
years.
Castro guitar right there.
Yeah, and
That's
I
you.
love the sound of this Strat. It's not like all the other Strats because
Right.
big headstock, rosewood neck.
The 66, right?
Yeah, and it's just got I don't know. It's just got a little fatter thing going on. I've had.
Plus, it's seen some shit.
It's been through. Oh my God! If that guitar could talk, you know, how many beers
Well,
I
it can
spilled
when
on
you
it
play.
back in the day before I quit. It spent a lot of time in really smoky rooms too. You know, back in the
good
day
for a
when
guitar.
the small clubs would be just full of cigarette smoke everywhere you went, and it just got. And you know, sometimes you'd spill beer on your amplifier. You have a cigarette would get burned down to the end and leave a little mark on the Tolex. You know,
Yeah.
those were the days. Those were good times. We're all too well behaved these days.
Yeah, I've always been like identify as a Gibson guitar player. You know, that was the first. Well, I had a Strat when I was young. It was maybe my first good guitar was a Strat, but I had a Les Paul, kind of a Les Paul copy before that, and you know, just having that big, you know, there's a mass and a big, you know, and a size to a Gibson sound that you know you don't get with a Fender. Fender is more, you know, it's more of a cleaner, plinkier, narrower, you know, brighter sound. Of course, you cannot change all that with your amp and your pedals, but
I just saw a thing with Jeff Beck, and he said they asked him why he loves the Strat so much, and he goes endless colors.
right.
And then he played a couple different things on it. Well, you know, you could do anything with that guitar, and I understood what he meant. You know, these things are going to have kind of one thing that it does really well. You know, mess around with pedals all you want, but it's going to have that big fat tone.
That's it. We get a Strat with some pedals, but the Gibson just straight into an amp is a very fat sound. You know, it has all that sustain, and I always got like a little extra. You know, it always the humbuckers. You know, it just has more. Yeah, and
You know,
that's not. You don't have your volume up all the way, even, do you?
yeah, I do. I've got it on the neck pickup.
Oh, yeah, you got your boxes down there.
Yeah, well, you know, I asked Chris. You know, I watch Chris, of course, and I see that he always plays. He plays on the neck pickup, and I love his tone. So if I'm going to play Gibson, you know, I'm kind of going for that.
Oh yeah, you know, I can dig that.
And it does a lot of other rock stuff too. You know, if you want to get, you know, with boxes and stuff, you could AC/DC. You know, would sound different if they didn't. Angus didn't play a Les Paul or a.
I like with the Gibson. I mean, I don't really use any pedals or stuff for. I just use the volume knob for. You can go from like a clean. I just turn it up and.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of gain with the humbuckers.
And it's all right there in the volume knob for me, and then it just has a. I feel like it has a bigger range than a Fender. But I've actually been playing a Strat and a Telly a lot lately because I found a couple that are incredibly good, and they're just so great to play. So
many
but this
people
is-
play Tellys these days. It got to be more popular amongst blues players, I think, than I remember. You know, it depends on what am I remembering.
Yeah.
I don't know what time period am I thinking. But I remember, I just remember noticing them popping up a lot more often, and
It's hard to go wrong with one.
Yeah, the one I love to see is Tab Benoit's guitar, though, man.
Oh yeah,
yes, that thing looks like it's been to war. You know,
Yeah,
it's been drug around, and man, he just played the shit out of it. That's
well, if
all
you're
that's
gonna take a guitar to war, that's the one.
he plays it. And you know, and he plays clean, but he just kind of wheels sustain out of the thing by digging in, you know.
Yeah.
And it's got a humbucker on it. I'm pretty
It's
sure.
got a humbucker on it, but it's still not as much sustain as a Gibson, but it's got a little, kind of a little of both.
Yeah.
So
he's working really for it. He's working for his tone. I've seen him do it. I'm going, man, he's just going to make that thing sing. And I know how hard it is to do with that amp and that guitar.
The thing about Gibsons, though, you know, if when you travel, you know, it's a lot easier to break one of these.
Yeah.
And you know, like with a Telecaster, I always say the biggest danger with taking a Telecaster on a plane is that you might damage the plane.
Oh shoot, man!
But with something like this, you know, there's one wrong fall, and you know, there you go.
Hey, before we wrap up, I want to just mention that you know, the Greaseland All Stars is also a thing.
Yes,
and I really appreciate Roger Neighbor, you know, having the good sense. He knows what a good show. He knows how to put on a good show. I often call the Blues Cruise the greatest show on earth. Like used to be Barnum and Bailey, but now it's the Blues Cruise, the LRBC.
I had the best time on the last cruise. I mean, it was. I was very happy. It was just such a great time, and the people were very nice. People are very nice.
You would fill up the main theater completely full.
That might be why I liked them so much. Yeah.
And for those of you that don't know what we're talking about, I mean, Kid has a thing he calls it the Greaseland All Stars, and he just is very creative and gets a group of people together that he likes and that have all recorded basically at Greaseland Studios and have stories that go along with him and his career. And I've been honored a couple of times to come up and play with you guys.
Really, how it started is with Willie Walker a long time ago. Because you know, me and Rick met Willie Walker, found out what an incredible singer the guy was. And he told us, like, oh yeah, I've seen you guys on the Blues Cruise, and we're like, oh cool, you had a gig on the Blues Cruise, and he was like, no, I was just you know, as a guest, a passenger, me and my wife, and we're like, what? And he kept doing that, you know, we're trying to like get his you know, career going. We made an album with and stuff, and then he was on another Blues Cruise with us as a passenger, and we had the jam one night, and then Rick would just say, you know what, instead of us doing our thing, we're going to do one song, and then the rest of the show is Willie Walker, and we put together a band and back him up. And we did that, and we also did that at like a couple of other bars on the cruise, where I would just put together a band of whoever would volunteer to help the cause. And we even passed
a lot, and
you know,
not a lot, but you know, those things do happen.
You know, you've seen it too, with like the California Honey Drops would always get in jam at the end of the night, which turned into like the Soul Lounge. So Roger's very, he's smart. When somebody has like the ingenuity to go off on their own and do like a little kamikaze show on the boat, he's he's smart enough to to ally with that, you know, and align himself with that, and not, you know, first of all, he let us do it, which was really cool, and then you know, it happened a few more times, sometimes with some different artists, and that became kind of like the Greaseland All Stars. And at one point we talked, and we were kind of like, I'll probably do this with or without you, but it'd be better if we work together.
Yeah.
So he's now that I have
well, he ran a club for a long time.
The official Blues Cruise stamp for it, we are unstoppable.
Oh yeah, that is one of the best shows that happens because it's it's you're not going to see the same show each time you go to it. It's going to be a whole completely different thing each time, and that's one of the hard things for a band on a cruise. You get 4 shows throughout the week, and it's hard to make every show a different set.
Yeah, and should you?
I do now have enough material, my band knows enough songs where we can do pretty much a different show every time we play.
Right,
but
we do.
It takes time. There's a lot of songs.
We do too, but there's also the thing of not everybody saw your first show.
I know. You got it. It's a toss up.
Yeah.
But you get more complaints from people about doing the same songs than you do by doing too many different songs.
Oh, I missed it. I thought you were going to do it again. Yeah. I mean, we got to do I Met Her on the Blues Cruise on every show on the boat.
Well, I'm sure you have to.
I mean, come on.
Yeah. Well, there's always a couple. There's a couple songs that I will throw in almost every show, 1 or 2.
Right.
But what I usually do is make a different set, and then in the middle of the show, I'm going, I need something. I need to pull out my ace in the hole.
Right,
and I'll do my "It Serves Me Right to Suffer" boogie again. And I'll go, not everybody saw me do that the first time, and that's the one thing that I do that not everybody does. I stole it from Ron Thompson, basically. I didn't really, because I do it different, but I was inspired very much by Ron Thompson doing his sort of Magic Sam boogie. And
man, it was killer when he would do that. He was
that's that thing.
He's a hell of a guy, man. Oh yeah.
On and on and on.
Yeah, I sat down and learned a bunch of.
Serve me.
I remember when that video DVD came out with Magic Sam playing that on Earl Hooker's guitar from Europe in like '69.
Oh, is that what that was?
Yeah,
I've seen that video. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, that's how I knew it was. That's how I found out it was a Magic Sam boogie, because I had been.
Well, it was a Junior.
I saw
Parker
Ron
boogie,
doing what he does for years, and I was, and I kind of was trying to. That's what I was going for, and then at some point, since YouTube came out, I somehow, I didn't have every blues album I didn't have every record that ever.
No, nobody had it until now. Now everybody has them on their computer.
Now you can find anything you want, and I stumbled across that live.
But it's one of those numbers that a lot of people did, and it kind of evolved. I mean, Junior Parker, I Want to Ramble. Well, I Want to Ramble, and it was kind of like
Ron would throw all that stuff in. He would play. I Feel So Good. Junior Parker version.
And then, but John, I mean, it comes from John Lee or something, I guess. But he something like a.
One night I was laying down.
Exactly. But Magic Sam, that one version in the tone is like.
Oh, it's intense. Wow, man! You got it, man. You got that sound.
No, not even close.
That sounds great. Are you kidding me?
That sounds all right, but it's not exactly like. There was something about. I think maybe I used to have it better. Bob Welsh can do that stuff.
Anyways, it's
But the boogie is like everybody should have their own boogie.
Everybody got to have a boogie.
Yeah, it's
like B.B. King used to say, you got to shake your boogie.
Don't break it.
I've been. This is so much fun. I could go on for hours. I think, kid. That's going to be the hard part about doing these shows. Is it's going to be hard to wrap it up at some point. But lucky for you, my back is starting to bother me over here.
You know what Miles Davis told John Coltrane? John Coltrane asked him one, and they said, Miles, I have a hard time finishing my solos and knowing how to like wrap it up, resolve and my solos. And Miles Davis said, take the horn out your mouth.
Hey, before we go, I want to tell you my best my favorite Rick Estrin story.
Let's hear it.
So I'm gonna leave you guys with this, and it's been great having you, kid. Look up Kid Andersen, Greaseland Studios online. There's always something happening there. There's some news floating around, and things are happening as usual at Greaseland. And don't miss Rick Estrin and the Nightcats if you ever get a chance to see him, or Kid's doing other gigs around. Reach out and buy some of those records. But I'll tell you what Rick said one time, and this goes back to my story about how blues is a certain thing to some people, and I kind of agree with Rick a lot for the most part. And anyway, he was saying, when I was young, Lightning Hopkins was a blues man, and John Lee Hooker was a blues man. Jimi Hendrix was a rock guitar player.
Acid rock.
And Wilson Pickett was an R&B singer, and rhythm and blues singer. And then now, and Mustang Sally was a soul tuner. Now Jimi Hendrix is a blues guitar player, and Mustang Sally is a blues song, and I'm like and this is what he said. He goes, I'm like a dog watching television. I don't get it. Anyway. I kind of screwed that up, but Rick just said it.
You did
it
real good. You did it your own way. You made it your own, just like you do with the blues.
That's right. All right, man. Well, get some rest. Get something to eat. I'm hungry now too. I'm gonna go get myself a bite. And
me too. Now that you mentioned it,
get some rest. It's been a pleasure, man. Let's do it again one of these days.
I hope this works.
I hope it works too. But I'm going to do it.